I always thought we had something special. Lisa and I had been together for almost 5 years, and every day felt like we were moving forward, until everything came crashing down in a single conversation. The first sign that something was off was when she started coming home late. She'd say it was work or that she was out with friends, but a strange unease grew inside me, one I couldn't ignore. It wasn't like her to stay out like that, especially knowing how much I loved spending time with her. Still, I brushed it off, convincing myself I was being paranoid. That was until I found the text messages. They weren't explicit, but they were enough to raise suspicion, flirty, playful, and far too intimate for my comfort. I couldn't ignore it any longer. The thought of what I might uncover terrified me, but I knew I couldn't live in the dark. One night, I came home early, hoping to catch her in the act. My heart pounded as I stepped inside and saw her standing in the kitchen, her back to me. She hadn't noticed me yet, and for a moment, I just stood there, trying to steady myself. When she finally turned, our eyes met, and she immediately saw the look on my face, the one I was desperately trying to hide. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice steady, but I could see the hesitation in her eyes. "I know about the messages, Lisa," I said, my voice cold, barely holding it together. She went still, her face paling. For a brief second, I thought maybe I was wrong, maybe I had misunderstood. But the look in her eyes told me everything I needed to know. She stopped, taking a deep breath as if preparing for something. "I didn't want to hurt you." Her voice was barely above a whisper. A surge of anger coursed through me. "So you're just going to admit it? No denial, no fight? You're just going to tell me you're having an affair and expect me to be okay with it?" She looked down, nervously twisting a dish towel in her hands. "No, I didn't want to hurt you," she repeated. "But I fell in love with him, and I couldn't stop it." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. But it wasn't just the confession that broke me. It was the way she said it. There was no apology, no shame, no plea for forgiveness. She wasn't even trying to salvage what we had. I took a step back, struggling to steady myself. The silence between us was suffocating. I thought I had prepared myself for this moment, but hearing her say it so plainly, without a shred of remorse, crushed me. "So this is it then?" I asked, my voice shaking despite my best efforts. She nodded, finally meeting my eyes. "I'm sorry, but yes. I'm in love with him. I don't know what else to say." The weight of her words hit like a freight train. It wasn't just that she had cheated. It was that she had already let go of everything we had. She had moved on emotionally, mentally, and maybe even physically long before I found out. For a long time, neither of us spoke. There was nothing left to say. I turned and walked out of the room, trying to regain some sense of control. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe, but I couldn't even bring myself to cry. What was there left to cry about? Lisa had already made her choice. She was no longer the woman I thought I knew. She was someone else, someone who no longer had a place in my life. That night, I slept on the couch. No more pretending, no more games. The next morning, when I woke up, she was gone. No note, no goodbye. Just gone. Weeks passed, and I found myself moving through life in a blur. I buried myself in work, trying to fill the emptiness, but the pain of her betrayal never fully faded. The hardest part wasn't the affair itself. It was knowing she had no regrets, no longing for what we had. She had fallen out of love, and that was that. Eventually, I moved out of the house. I couldn't stay in the place where we had built so many memories that now felt like lies. As I packed my things, I couldn't help but wonder if she had ever truly cared or if, from the very beginning, she had been planning her escape. The divorce was quick. No fights, no drama. Just a quiet acknowledgement that we were better off apart. She moved on, and so did I. But the betrayal never really left me. I learned the hard way that the most devastating part of an affair isn't the betrayal itself. It's realizing that the person you loved had already moved on long before you ever had the chance to catch up.